It's the age of martial arts, and here we have a celebration for such. Our main character, Master Ip, decides to take the day off to relax, until he gets an unexpected visitor from another master. Master Lee is new in town and just opened a new martial arts club. He wants to spar with Master Ip, who is known for being the best in Wing Chun in town. Master Ip tries to say no, but Master Lee politely yet aggressively suggests these hands for dinner. Ip Man's rebuttals that I would rather have dinner with my family, but bruh said that's fine, I'll wait. I came here for hands, and I'm not leaving here without the hands I came for. My type of energy. Bro was so polite with it though, he even got invited to dinner and a conversation afterwards. Look at how nice and peaceful they are. This is so heartwarming. They're about to scrap. Before they start, a wanderer outside is peeping to see the fight, since masters fighting each other was rare back then. So they get started, and Master Ip is giving Master Lee a master class. Here we get to see the introduction of the famous style Wing Chun. Ip Man's skill far surpasses his opponent, so the sparring session is over pretty fast. And promises to keep it between them.
Got your ass whooped tonight.
The Wanderer, however, spills the beans on everything he saw, and word gets around really quick. Meanwhile, Master Ip meets up with Chen, his brother, and during the conversation, he finds out that everyone has heard about the fight. Eventually, word gets back to Master Lee, and he searches for the source ASAP. Chen offers Master Ip a partnership in a new business out of love, and Master Ip don't know how to handle this. Before he can humbly decline, the wandering mischief interrupts to try to make Ip Man verify his story. You see, while Master Ip was talking, Master Lee was downstairs roughing him up until he ran up there. Now almost embarrassed, Lee's reputation is saved by the mischief's older brother and a local officer. The officer tries to have a metaphorical dick measure contest with the martial artist, but comes up short, respectfully.
I apologize for my outburst.
His brother wants him to think about it, and at the same time, Chen asks if his son can train under him. With a lighthearted no, he entertains the student from a different master for a bit, neglecting his own son and losing daddy and hubby points at the same time. She uses her superior style, wifey chun, and disperses the room within seconds. After a quick scolding, he takes a look at the picture his son was trying to show him and thinks, damn, this is pretty cool. The next day, a mysterious martial artist comes into town and demands smoke from all the masters in the town. The very first master he challenges immediately generates an ongoing crowd. The fight starts, and in the beginning, it's an even dance. The mysterious martial artist lands a counter kick on the master, however, landing the first hit. That right there just cost him the fight. See, the mystery man's chess move just caused the master to lose full concentration on the fight, causing him to continually make mistakes and second guessing himself until he was defeated. Every master knew what time it was after that, so they got themselves ready. A weapons master called next and started his dance with the mystery man. Weapon master was exposed quick, however. Since he was limited to dance with his accommodated weapon only, mystery martial artist still used his hands and feet to counter and maneuvered through his opponent's guard to victory. Meanwhile, Master Ip is working on apologizing for being a bad family man, when he gets interrupted by the Wanderer's older brother Lin to tell him about the mystery fighter, who is facing Master Lee right now. Lee puts up the best fight yet, offering good offense and defense. The mystery fighter uses Lee's skills against him as he uses his timing to set him up for counterattacks. lands enough counters to finally slow Lee down. He goes on his full assault, ending the match with a double spin that Lee didn't see coming fast enough. Delivering these hands to everyone can take a lot out of you though, so the new crew goes into town and grabs something to eat. As they relish in their victories, the shopkeeper then comes in and bursts their bubbles and tells them that they haven't even faced the final boss of the town yet, Master Ip. So you already know what time it is. The mystery master shows up to Master Ip's house and formally addresses himself as Jin and immediately challenges Ip Man. Ip Man declines to fight in his home in order to not sleep on the couch tonight. But after Master Jin roasts Ip Man and his style in her face, she was like, oh hell nah, beat his ass baby. You see that smile? That's an approval smile. Ip Man is smiling at that man like, bruh, she said I could beat your ass, so I'm about to beat your ass. So the scene sets itself up for the first major fight of the movie. And once all the spatial conditions were met, Master Jin starts the match with a flurry of punches. Jin is on the offense, but can't do a single thing about Master Ip's defense. Master Ip continues the defense flex, not even trying to counter. Once Jin talks about his son, however, Master Ip is now ready to be offensive, both fight-wise and disrespectfully. Wait. Not only did Master Ip just disrespected Master Jin's cheeks and the space between his nipples, but then he bitch slapped him with his left leg. Look at him just die there in shame for like 0.7 seconds. Then Jin makes history as being the first person to grab the steel after getting their ass whooped. Defense still can't be touched as Ip Man dances around him until he finds something more suitable for the occasion. He is whipping this man like he came home with bad grades on his report card. That was a literal ass whooping. Jin walks away in defeat and Master Ip is now being praised all over town for saving the honor in the city of Foshan. In fact, he is praised so much that they are pushing him to start a school, something that he's been trying to avoid, but the people are persistent. Unfortunately, none of this matters as history is not in their favor. That year, 1937, the Marco Polo incident happened where Japan invaded China, leaving China in turmoil. By the end of the year, the city had went into poverty, with majority businesses shutting down. Food was getting scarce, and the scariest of all, the invasion led to more than half of the city's population dead. In 1 year, a city of 300,000 became a city of 70,000, with Ip Man being one of the few survivors. But he and his wife lost everything, so they are pretty much another struggling family. They try their hardest to keep their heads up, but it's difficult during these times of depression. During a food run, Master Ip happens to see Chen, who ends up being successful in his business ventures. He wants to offer his brother money, but Ip Man is not feeling like he needs a handout, so he once again politely declines. This prompts Ip Man to start looking for a job, which are scarce, but due to his reputation, he luckily finds employment. While working, Lin reappears in the story and runs into Ip Man. Ip Man and Lin get to catching up for a bit, but then is interrupted when a Japanese soldier arrives, challenging martial artists who are working there to combat with their country's fighters. No one cares until a bag of food is on the table, and due to the desperate situations, volunteers are now lining up. The volunteers are then taken to a dojo, where they can even see other masters are competing for rice. The Japanese general is a skilled fighter himself and wants in on the action and prepares himself to challenge 3 fighters at once. Lin is one of the fighters chosen, And the moment the round starts, the general dominates with a 6-hit combo that knocks everyone to the ground. The other two fighters want no smoke, and with that, they give up. But Lin, while outclassed, doesn't quit. Resulting in Lin being beaten to death. The next day, Ip Man notices Lin never came back and starts to get worried. At the same time, more Japanese soldiers once again ask for more volunteers to fight. Realizing that the last batch never came back, Ip Man decides to go and take a look for himself. As he gets there, he notices Master Lee winning another bag of rice. Things go south as Lee gets too confident and requests 3 fighters at once for more rice. Looking at this fight, in my opinion, I would say that the hands of time is what really defeated him. You can tell that he is more skilled than all 3 of them combined, being how he is able to maneuver around them. But you can see he's slower and his recovery time is taking a lot longer than the 3 youths he's fighting. Master Lee admits defeat and tries to take the rice and leave, but is shot in the head for doing so after losing. This wasn't approved by the general and he is pissed. He is a fellow martial artist after all, and he found it so disrespectful he is ready to shoot the shooter. But you know who was even more pissed though? Ip Man was so pissed, infuriated, enraged, maddened, bothered, irked, peeved, ticked, nettled, exasperated, and most of all vexed that he ordered a 10-piece combo, all smoked. And after metaphorically laying one brother to rest next to another fallen brother, Ip Man is out for blood. Master Ip makes the first move and puts one of them to sleep off rip, then starts dancing around 4 other would-be assailants. Ip Man is not in the mood and shows how deadly Wing Chun can be. This man got so shook, he forgot that he had to fight. Now he screwed himself over. Man, I would have just played dead. Ip Man earns his rice, but he makes it very clear that he doesn't care about any of that and leaves with the bloody rice and potato to share the unfortunate news with their families and loved ones. Ip Man then scolds the ex-Chinese cop for turning a blind eye to the horrors. He tries to defend himself, but Master Ip don't want to hear any of that. Ip Man walks in his home after working overtime with no pay and seeks comfort in his wife. At this point, he feels helpless. Nothing he's doing is working or is helping in the end, and times just keep getting worse. His wife tries to calm him down, letting him know that he is loved and that's all that matters. But Ip Man is still conflicted, because as much as his wife's words give him hope, he knows that not being able to keep his family afloat and not being able to save his friends will eventually eat him up inside. Next scene, we have a transportation of goods, when the drivers get stopped and raided by none other than Master Jin himself. It also turns out that Lin's brother is still alive and well. Their next stop is Chen's warehouse, but things doesn't go as planned as Chen and the company is actually broke. Chen's son runs away and makes it to Ip Man's house, and they both hurry to the scene. It's too late, however, and Ip Man only sees the aftermath. A bruised Chen comes to praise his brother's martial arts and pleads that he is needed more than ever. Seeing a warehouse of defenseless people that needed to be defended, Master Ip changes his mindset on teaching and decides it's about time to have students. I love this montage. It doesn't show you a bunch of random ass exercises that makes the fighters look more skilled. Nah, this montage is so grounded that you can actually take real notes. The key in the scenes is to understand that they are focusing on form and muscle memory. Each scene relates to those key features, and these few minutes display an excellent job on how to practice them and how to get used to your fighting style. Meanwhile, the general is getting irritated that he hasn't seen Ip Man again. The ex-Chinese cop tries his hardest not to snitch, but he's not built like that and eventually caves. They arrive at Ip Man's place and the Japanese soldiers start harassing his son and wife, and Ip Man is not having any of that. So the cop redeems himself by freeing Ip Man and hiding him, even taking a beating and not giving in this time. Meanwhile, Jin comes back and tries to collect money from the warehouse, regardless of them having none. And this time, they are ready to fight back. Or so they thought. While they were getting the moves down, you could see that they needed more sparring with an actual person. It's okay though, because Ip Man is on time this time and stops the fighting almost immediately. At first, Jin don't want any smoke, but he is in a hungry dog back in the corner mode, and he decides he might as well risk it all. The last stand doesn't end well, and Lin's brother joins the fight despite Master Ip's plea not to. He don't listen, and both Jin and Lin get spanked. Ip Man reaches to Lin before they leave, and he talks some sense into him while telling him about his brother's passing. Later that night, ex-cop is in a panic to tell Ip Man not to react. This is because the Japanese military will do anything to get their hands on Ip Man at this point, including terrorizing the people. Ip Man cannot bear that type of burden, so he volunteers to be tribute like Katniss. At this point, the general actually wants Ip Man to teach his army kung fu, but Ip Man refuses and challenges him to a 1v1 instead. The general accepts, with intent on diminishing the morality of the Chinese even more. The next exchange between Ip Man and the general is good because they don't speak the same language, but through body tone and language, they truly communicate. The general is trying to be formal in his approach, but Ip Man will not entertain his formality after everything he has done to his people. I'm going to take a wild guess and say that they didn't want to leave. But my dog Chen said, I made a promise to keep you safe, whether you the fuck like it or not. But this moment draws out an impactful moment from Ip Man's wife, as she laments on not fully supporting him in his passion. You see, during moments like this, people naturally feel regret and wishes they did things differently during the times where they feel like there's absolutely nothing they can do. At that moment, and at this very moment, Ip Man is representing China on his back, walking with determination to the ring. Tensions are high as the Chinese and Japanese both know that this won't be just a friendly match. In fact, they actually ask your boy Ip to take a dive. That man don't even know how to swim. He ain't taking a dive for shit. They show their forms of respect, and the long wait is finally over. After a chess game of hands, Master Ip makes the first strike. Now that the general's awake, he more carefully approaches Ip Man and continues to be the aggressor. Ip Man catches his balance and is able to maneuver his way back into the middle of the ring. After that, they just start dancing, until the general is able to one-up Master Ip and deliver a nice kick combination. But it's short-lived. The general makes a fatal mistake in fighting a master, which is doing the same move twice, which completely changes the momentum. Ip Man takes this moment and decides to finish him off with a brutality. These fucking combos. Cheers erupted, then ended just as fast as the bullet that pierced Master Ip Man. The Japanese army was too salty for their own good and caused an uproar that they couldn't even control because of their actions. Chaos ensues, and during all of the commotion, Ip Man and his family is able to flee the city. The movie ends telling us how Ip Man lived his life after leaving the city, how the war ends, and his accomplishment. Now, I'm not a historian level YouTuber yet, so y'all just gonna have to do the research if you want to learn more. Trust me, it's worth it. But there's nothing wrong with starting with this movie. Not only will you get a good taste of the history, but there's real emotional depth in this movie that was displayed just as beautifully as the choreography. Please watch if you haven't. The next movie I want to talk about is Ip Man 2. We start the sequel with the
Last time on Dragon Ball Z.
With the first movie and its unfortunate aftermaths. Then we get into a beautiful artistic opening of the new school's location that Master Ip has started. Ip Man is working on his marketing skills, trying to find a fresh batch of students. Unfortunately, he only mastered Wing Chun and not marketing Chun, which couldn't be at a worse time because the Ip family is still broke, having to live off change until they can do better. Ip Man's wife, Wing Sing, is now pregnant again, and we catch up with her trying to contribute for the family. Ip Man is not having it and takes care of his wife the best he can, but just like last time, he is itching to do more for his family. Good fortune is finally in Ip Man's favor when a potential student shows up and has interest in Wing Chun. The young man wants to see Wing Chun in action the only way he knows how. You see that smile? That's a happy smile. That smile says, I need to pay my rent, so I'm gonna beat your ass to pay my rent. The young man starts throwing wild hooks, letting Ip Man get inside for A1 counters. Second round starts, and I'm now convinced that Buddy does not know how to throw jabs, because here comes Captain Hook again, still getting pieced up, not learning from the first set. Master Ip then finishes the lesson, but the young man is too salty to pay, so he ends up leaving. Not too long, however, he comes back with his homies to gang up on Ip Man, but as predicted, they were simply slight work. That was the last proof these kids needed to beg Master Ip to be their master. Ip Man's montages are top tier. Here are a plethora of real-life techniques that can be practiced just by watching this movie. The very first person to catch Ip Man's hands, his first student, Luang, ends up being the marketing genius he needed. Things aren't perfect yet, as we still see that in these hard times, foreigners are still lingering over the country, so the students themselves can only give so much for fees, which isn't enough to pay for Ip Man's family. So Ip Man and Wing Sing continue to come up with a plan to get out of this. But things get even more heartbreaking as Ip Man is buying some groceries at night and come across his brother Chen, but this time he's completely and utterly mentally broken. Bro was shot while running away from the Japanese and still hasn't been the same since. Ip Man obviously feels like he is at fault and vows to do everything he can to take care of his brother. Meanwhile, Lu Wang is putting up posters disrespectfully when the owner of the other poster calls him out. They go back and forth about their styles, but we all know how this is going to end. With these hands. Once Buddy does a jump kick to establish his position, they start trading hands. I just want to point out that Buddy ain't shit. Dude said right before the fight, no eyes and throats, and in less than 10 seconds, Buddy tried to renege on his own rules. A quick reset and now Lu Wang is on the offensive and takes advantage of an opportune moment. This was when his boys decided it was now time to do gang shit. So now some other thugs go to Ip Man's studio to inform him that Lu Wang is now a hostage and he needs to pay a hostage fee. Ip Man wastes no time heading to the location of his studio. Once he arrives, he tries to be civil with the matter at first, trying to calm the whole situation down, but to no avail. And let me just tell y'all right now, once Ip Man knew they had to fight their way out, the entire fight turns into anime. We start off by Ip Man pushing back 5 men with ease. Then pops on the same dude that got handled by his student. And now that he's even saltier than before, he gets everyone geared up with weapons to finish off Ip Man. Bro, are these still dojos and students? Why are they going all gang right now? Well, Ip Man goes Super Saiyan and gets even faster and deadlier with the Wing Chun, and Dwayne is getting sidekick points by helping out with the gang of thugs. After Ip Man hits this man with a Hadouken, then he goes anime again by picking up a fucking pallet and manhandles these guys with ease. He's just twirling that wooden pallet like a baton. What the fuck? This dance is nice though, using the pallet like a shield. Now you can't tell me that wasn't anime. Lu Wang's hands are finally free, making it an official 2-man army, looking like Batman and Robin out here. Master Ip then decides to play slapbox with everyone until they can find a chance to escape. That's when Master Jin shows up out of nowhere to calm the entire situation down. That's right, y'all better put some respect on my dog's name. Right when they were about to leave, the actual master of this dojo, Master Hyun, shows up and interrupts the plan.
金新爪，學人做價量啊！
咩？
呢條路係我嘅，你嗰塊爛地都係我嘅。嗱，你講多次，呢度係邊個地方？
都是洪大。
Hey man, y'all better put some more respect on my dog's name. Master Hyun then tells Ip Man that there are rules and requirements for starting a martial arts club here, and before they finished, Master Ip, Jin, and Lu Wang gets arrested by the one-sided law enforcement. Hyun and that same cop then head to the station to kiss ass to the foreigners. Well, Hyun not so much, since he's doing all of this so that he and his men can get paid. Meanwhile, Ip Man and Jin gets bailed out by their wives, but Lu Wang gets stuck. Luckily for him, Master Jin pleads to his wife for some extra bread to bail him out. Getting arrested isn't enough, however, as Master Ip still accepts the challenge from Master Hyun and the other masters so that he can continue his teachings in peace. The rules are you keep fighting a master until the incense is all the way burnt out, while on top of a table, and if you fall, you lose. See, this is gang shit, and Ip Man is about to get jumped in. Master Law is the first master to step up to the plate. Ip Man reads a few pages off this man, then starts setting up his counters. Look at the chess move here. Ip Man sets him up to where Master Law can only do one counter, but he already has a counter for that counter. After that performance, the other masters pretty much peer pressure Master Chang to go next. This scene pretty much recreates the momentum of the first dance. Now Master Hume has had enough and faces Ip Man himself. It was go mode immediately, and Hume was letting him know that this is now chess, not checkers, and you won't one counter me. The real fight starts and they are evenly matched throughout the entire dance. Not one master was able to land a definitive strike. That being said, Ip Man is welcome to the game. I mean society, where he must pay his fees. And Ip Man is like, bruh, if it's not one thing, it's another. He refuses the initiations after feeling like this isn't right and leaves. The students of Hume then starts antagonizing the property of Ip Man, forcing the Wing Chun students to have an all-out brawl. This resulted in Ip Man losing his building and location. Ip Man is not too angry at his students, however, as he already knows the source of this issue. Master Ip tells Master Hume that ain't shit changed and he is still going to teach these students in these streets. Hume then explains what he feels must be done in order to obtain the peace. What's really happening is an exchange of ideologies. Until Hume decided that he'd rather exchange hands instead. But his family interrupts all that. Master Ip temporarily sets up shop at his home for the time being and does his practice wherever he can. Hume passes by to offer a truce in the form of boxing tickets. By doing this, he gives Ip Man a chance to see the bright side of the methods he has to take. Hume then leaves to help preparations for the foreigners' boxing match, and these guys are acting like dicks to Hume and his people, not even trying to pay for their work. The trade-off gets less and less rewarding by the second. They still work for the big day and everyone gets to display their forms of martial arts. All of this gets interrupted by the boxer of the main event, Twister. Side note, I'm not the biggest fan of how boxing is portrayed, but let's move on. Twister wants to show that the Chinese martial arts is inferior to Western boxing, so he starts challenging everyone and bullies the entire genre. Master Ip and Master Hume comes to interrupt everyone and Twister was too salty when he got hit. Hume demands an apology and Twister replies with a challenge that Hume accepts, worrying Ip Man, but he still has faith. Twister starts off with wild one-hitter power, but the moves are wide enough to be easily seen, giving Hume some needed points. then adds his 2 cents in to help leverage the fight even more to Hugh's favor. This was working until Hume was gassing out due to his own illness, leaving him open for a right uppercut. Hume was able to recover enough to be able to go into survival mode, and to make things worse, he continues to lose his stamina with continuous body blows. Yet he still has a few chest pieces left and manages to get his own knockdown. By this time, everyone knows Hume is gassed out while using his very last to survive the rest of the round. Ip Man has seen enough and wants Hume to throw in the towel, but he'd rather go out on his shield. The fight ends with the late-ass ref calling the fight after a ridiculous amount of overhand lefts, resulting in the death of Hume. Ip Man pays his respects because in the end, their core beliefs was the exact same. Meanwhile, Twister and his team is trying to cover up the truth and make it look more media friendly. Twister then again challenges any fighter to face him, and it's very obvious whose his next set of hands are going to be. To prepare, Ip Man's family moves away to allow Ip Man to fully concentrate. Unlike the first movie, there is nothing but support for Wing Sing, which is a huge difference in motivation. Wing Sing actually heads into labor, but doesn't tell Ip Man because she wants him to fully concentrate. The moment comes that Ip Man awaits Twister to finish off his grand entrance. The fight starts and Ip Man's patience is already irritating Twister, so he becomes the aggressor, letting Ip Man test the power difference. Twister is the bigger, so naturally stronger opponent, so he answers back with his speed and reflex. Twister then eats a blow in order to get a crucial knockdown that he needed. The round is over, giving Ip Man enough time to recover for the second round, which is completely in his favor. He has timed Twister to a T and is now setting him up for body shots, leading to a fatal uppercut. Twister's only real hit is after the round is over when the bell has already rung. Not only did they let that slide, but the rules have now changed for the worse. Ip Man can no longer use kicks in order to hinder him. Ip Man is trying to adjust but gets knocked down while making the attempt. He still gets up like Rocky Balboa and has now adjusted. He is ready for those wild hooks as he utilizes that moment to completely break down his offense. Now he just does Twister dirty. Ip Man wins by knockout and the crowd goes wild. But he is only concerned about one thing now. After his speech of peace, he then heads home to his family, where Wing Sing awaits him with open arms and a new baby boy. Honestly, Ip Man and his family has been the best character development of this movie. We end the movie off with a nice tease of future Ip Man and his most iconic student. This movie was a good watch. Not as impactful as the first movie, some of the boxing elements were really janky, but overall a solid movie. Is it really an Ip Man movie if he is not training in the beginning of the movie? I think not. It's 1959 and guess who's old enough to apply to become part of Master Ip Man school? The young Lee is very confident in being a fine student and Ip Man tells him to prove it. Lee then kills two birds with one stone by stepping up to the plate while disapproving Master Ip Man smoking cigarettes. Ip Man is like, nice try, buddy. But he entertains him some more. Young Lee continues to show off his impressive speed and accuracy, and while impressive, Master Ip is still able to humble him and give him one of the best lessons he's ever received.
Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Ip Man's youngest son, Ah-Ching, is now old enough to go to school, and we see off the bat that this young man is about them hands. He gets into a fight with another classmate, Shang Feng, and is sent to the office where Wing Sing picks him up first. Ip Man comes shortly after, and once they realize that the father will be late picking up the other kid, they invite him for dinner until they can contact the father. Ip Man then finds out that this little man can also throw hands because of his father, who happens to arrive at that very moment. The fathers then do their fatherly thing and get the kids to properly apologize and make up after fighting. Master Ip also compliments his son's abilities and him as well. What Ip Man didn't realize, however, was that he was speaking to a man that highly knows and respects him, yet he has high ambitions of his own for the future. Still a good father though, so you know, kudos. After that, we find out what Mr. Shang's overnight job is, working inside of a warehouse, filled with ass whoopings. And you wouldn't believe who the boss is. None other than the man with the hands himself, Iron Mike Tyson. Mike is looking to buy a local school expeditiously and happens to notice Mr. Shang's fight mid-meeting. Here we see the similarities and differences with Ip Man's Wing Chun and Mr. Shang's Wing Chun. Mr. Shang's style is more aggressive and ruthless compared to Master Ip's defend and counter at the same time. Next, we have a reporter getting coverage of each martial arts school in the area, including Master Ip's. While finishing up, Master Ip gets reminded that he missed a date with his wife and she is not happy. Bruh took getting in trouble like Ralph from The Simpsons.
I'm in danger!
Ip Man then goes to pick up his son when he runs into Mr. Shang doing the same thing. They have a quick conversation revealing their related backgrounds. Then Mr. Shang takes the conversation up a notch and insists on throwing hands one day. After they pick up their kids, the man working for Mike and a couple of thugs barge into the school at the exact same time to demand the principal to sell the school. Mike's thugs were about to get their way, until Ip Man arrived to save them. Looking at him like, shut up. Ip Man then calls the cops, but they manage to weasel their way into escaping. They tried to retaliate by boarding up the school, but Ip Man and his students were able to solve that issue right away. Initially starting the new beef between them and the thugs in the movie. Because of this, Ip Man and his students decided to do night security at the school. Just when things were looking like they have calmed down, those same thugs burst through the school with the goal to burn the school down. So Ip Man and his students get to work in stopping these thugs from burning down the school. The numbers are too great, however, and our heroes are now in a fight for survival, as well as a chase scene once the thugs apprehend the principal. Ip Man starts to pursue while making light work of the incoming thugs. Ip Man shows perfect balance here as he uses the rails to pivot a horde of enemies. Mr. Shang happens to come across the situation and leaps into action. And he just starts beating ass, no questions asked. This scene gives us the notion that he cares more about offensive power than anything. His strikes are at least 70% one-hitter quitters, and Ip Man catches wind of his power levels and runs in to assist in the fight. I love how the audio is properly differentiating who is putting more force into their punches. But after these thugs realized that they were fighting Goku and Vegeta out in these streets, they made the wise decision to take off. Ip Man then thanks Mr. Shang before he heads back to work, then decides to do night security for the school a few more days out of the week. He goes home to inform his wife about the news, but very understandingly, she is not happy about it and is very irritated, leaving Ip Man not being able to catch a break once again. Meanwhile, we see that Mr. Shang is looking for places to open up a school of his own, but at this moment, we can also see that the odds are against him. At the police station, Officer Po tries to take the case for the school's arson, but the commander in charge decides to take the case for himself, with no negotiation. Meanwhile, word is getting around that Ip Man and his students are nothing but bodyguards these days, which is an insult to martial arts. Honestly, that's new to me. I didn't even know that. Master Tin, a close friend of Ip Man, is disgusted by the news, however, and is motivated to get Ip Man's honor back himself. It's also revealed that the head thug is a former student of Master Tin, so he is even more motivated to head down there ASAP. They confront his student, and they verbally go back and forth until the master decides to Rick James his student's face. Feeling embarrassed, he tries to stab Mr. Tin, but Ip Man stops all that from happening. Things escalate until Po comes in to intervene as well, but it is revealed that his higher-ups are crooked as well, and they are in cohorts with the said thugs. They manage to leave the situation to discuss their own. The problem is that Po wants to give up because this is above his pay grade, but Ip Man refuses to quit and continues to tell him that he must do his job, even if he's completely scared to do so. All of these late nights are not helping Ip Man's situation at home, as he becomes too busy to properly be there for his family. The timing couldn't be at a worse time. Wing Sing has been feeling ill, and when she finally goes in to get checked by the doctors, they discover the worst case scenario. When she goes to tell her husband, she sees him enjoying female company, not looking as busy as he claims, so she leaves without telling him the news. We then switch to Mr. Shang sending someone into the Shadow Realm with a kick to the face, which impressed Master Tin's former pupil turned thug Ah Sang. Knowing that he needs the money, Ah Sang successfully tempts Mr. Shang to do his dirty work in getting rid of the school and Master Ip. He starts his pursuit with Master Tin, whom he was able to one-up using his own shop against him. Master Ip, meanwhile, is trying to balance his work life and home life as he promises to spend more time at home. But that's when he gets the call about what happened to Mr. Tin, which switches up the plans. But we then find out that this was a trick because Master Ip was lured into seeing Master Tin so that Ah Sang and his thugs can kidnap some of the kids and turn them into hostages. Once Ip Man discovers that he was tricked, he immediately acts. My dog shows up strapped, ready to beat ass. He walks through everyone like they're not there and arrives to Ah Sang and the children, including his son. Ip Man demands that he let the children go, but Ah Sang ends up trying to use his son as leverage. Mr. Shang shows up, and once they realize they took his kid too, they give him back and he leaves in shame. Ah Sang then makes Ip Man challenge 10 men at once, and Master Ip then proceeds to do what he needs to do to get his son. Master Ip patiently waits for the first person to strike to begin his dance. Realizing that he's at a disadvantage, he quickly moves the fight elsewhere to narrow his opponents. Mr. Shang's son started putting the guilt trip with the puppy dog eyes on his dad, and he didn't want to be a bad dad, so he starts to reconsider his options. While he is thinking, Ip Man is still out here fighting for his life. Though it was tough, Master Ip was able to get them in a narrow line so he can snap. While he is doing that, Mr. Shang has finally made his decision. Oh my god, he caved that man's nose in his face. Mr. Shang has already taken advantage of this situation by taking the high ground and then chips them away. While Ip Man is working downstairs, he sees Shang and returns to assist. Ah Sang takes off with Ip Man's son, and Ip Man is not far behind. Ah Sang makes another last-ditch effort to stop Ip Man, but he forgot that his son is also about their life. His son is freed, and now Ip Man is letting no one else touch his son. Manages to grab a shoe, and Ip Man was like, "I said no one." Another two manages to get where his son was at, but that is also short-lived. Mr. Shang holds off the remaining thugs until the cops arrive to arrest everyone, including Mr. Shang. Ah Sang, however, manages to escape again. Ip Man comes home to a reasonably pissed off wife and apologizes for putting their son in danger. Seeing how he's officially done and doesn't want to put her through anything else, Wing Sing unfortunately has to tell Ip Man the devastating truth. Wing Sing doesn't have much time left, and both of them try to keep a strong face, but life is a different kind of punch that hits different. They'll be feeling this longer than just in the morning. Back at Mike's facility, things aren't going as planned, as far as getting to school, and he's getting frustrated. So we get a preview of his movie version knockout power. Then sends a new foe for Master Ip. While Master Ip and Wing Sing are leaving the doctor's office, his opposition shows up for even worse timing. Once the elevator closed, Ip Man's only concern was to maneuver his wife out of the way. Once Ip Man was finally done stalling for time until the next floor, he was pissed. Ip Man is now mad enough to piece Buddy up like he kept his wife's name in his fucking mouth. Master Ip is done defending first, but is patient still as he is setting up his punishment. Master Ip is ruthless and relentless in this fight, while still level-headed like this is a game of chess. Check out how he figured out Buddy's rhythm while backstepping to end up on the offensive. My guy can dance and stays perfect on beat for the rest of the fight.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
He beat that man's ass in the speed of 4 floors down for the sake of his woman. You know he's not in trouble no more. At this point, Ip Man wants all the smoke and goes to speak directly to the manager. Alright y'all. Alright, fuck all this story talk. I'm hyped. Still hyped. I was hype as fuck when I saw the inevitable showdown between Mike Tyson and Donnie Yen. Bruh, look at that. Mike looks like the cutscene before the final boss.
So you're Ip Man? So you're the best fighter in China. Okay, let's deal. Let's see who fists are the fastest. Yours or mine?
Out here talking like a Tekken fighter. So Mike says that Master Ip can't last a professional round with him, and on normal occasions, this is true. But Ip Man is also built different. Mike starts strong with the right cross. Master Ip immediately understands that the 1-2s coming from him must not connect, so he's backing up to time the perfect strikes. But it's also like striking a tank. Master Ip also gets a taste of his defensive skills as he bobs and weaves into a left body and headshot. Ip Man eats a right uppercut, which intrigues Mike. Ip Man once more, and this nigga starts off with a kick. Why did this damn movie made my dog Mike do a kick? Cause boxing sure as hell don't make this man do a kick. Which caused his whole left side to get pieced up by Ip Man. Master Ip was getting some leverage until another body shot knocks the wind out of him, but he still gets up. Boys are scrapping, but that timer goes off and Mike is a man of honor, so he leaves Ip Man and the school alone. Meanwhile, Mr. Shang finally gets enough money to rent a studio for his school. At the same time, he also learns that Ip Man was the only one praised that day the kids were kidnapped. So he decides to head to the same newspaper source and challenge Ip Man's own Wing Chun.
就算我帮你写，但不知道武术界又会不会认同张师傅你的咏春，够资格被公开挑战叶师傅。
He is sick of being second fiddle and less respected, so he decided that these hands are ready to eat for everyone. fact, Mr. Shang defeated so many masters, he's Master Shang now, with his own school and respect among his peers. Master Shang still hasn't accomplished one thing, however, and that's to retrieve the #1 headband off of Ip Man. So once again, he calls him out. But this next part is so beautiful, even I don't care about these hands. For now. Cause neither does Ip Man. The only thing he is thinking about is his better half. This is such a strong opposite dynamic from the first Ip Man movie. Once there was a time that nothing can distract him from fighting. Now, the only thing he want to use these hands for is for embracing his wife. Aww. He even runs into young Lee, and they finally establish their master and student relationship through dance. See, I mean that shit when I compare fighting to dancing. Yo, no, these boys didn't set up a whole match. I don't remember seeing Ip Man signing any contracts.
我来了。
My dog is not getting in trouble this time. Look how happy he is not giving a fuck about y'all. Which unfortunately results in him forfeiting the match he didn't know he agreed to. So Master Shang takes this chance to declare himself to have the best style in Wing Chun, which caused an uproar with Master Ip's students. But while Master Ip is busy not giving a fuck about any of y'all, something happened that made him give a fuck. Wing Sing is getting worse, and Ip Man is doing what anyone can do in this situation. His best. But no fight ever came this close to hurting Ip Man like this. But of course, Wing Sing is the one to lift her husband's spirits. She tells him if she can fight, so can he. That's why she wants him to finally take the match. She even secretly set up a rematch for them to go at it. Wing Sing is GOAT status. Wing Sing treated Ip Man like a beautiful bird that she wanted to see fly before she dies. Ip Man then gives his most emotional training ever. Ip Man and Wing Sing arrive to face Master Shang in technically a rematch. And Master Shang is setting the mood. Once the mood is set, they waste no time. They start off this crazy duel using 6.5-point poles. They end up being perfectly even. Next, they use the Wing Chun butterfly swords. And since these swords got Wing Chun in the name, they pretty much dance with them like extended hands. Now that they're done with those, they use their final and strongest weapon, these hands. So not only is this dance amazing, but I love how the fighting is shot and edited specifically for this bout. During key moments in their choreography, the camera tends to do a quick zoom in and out. This gives us a more focus on the key chess moves during those plays and adds a subtle edge to the already fast-paced action scene that is happening in front of us. Once Ip Man gets blindsided, he taps into his Dragon Ball Super and goes Ultra Instinct. And then he uses the 1-inch punch as his final move. A punch he personally taught to the most decorated man in martial arts film history, Bruce Lee, as well as the most decorated man in anime, Goku. Argue with your mama. Master Shang admits defeat, but Master Ip reminds him that there are worse things, so focus on what really matters. Wing Sing passes away a year later, and we end the movie off with Grandmaster Ip Man, his son, and his pupils. This is a top tier movie for me. The choreography far surpasses the second movie. Not only that, but they made up all the issues with the boxing I had in the other movie, in the form of Iron Mike Tyson, and the acting chops as well as cinematography were the best of this trilogy. Bruh took one loss and said, "Alright, I'ma head out." We start the movie off finding out that Master Shang has left the city after his loss to Ip Man, and now has become a hitman for hire. He tells his boss that this will be his last hit, and his boss gives him some goodbye hands in the form of Tony Jaa. Master Shang now owns a small grocery store with his son Shang Fung, as he now makes an earnest living. We then switch over to people not making an earnest living, including Nana, who's late on her loan. She tries to be slick, but today is not her day and she deals with the boss, Southside, and he's not with the shits. He demands that she finds a way or else. Meanwhile, Shang's little boy has a birthday coming up, so he goes out and gets him the best superhero as a birthday gift. During this time, Nana meets up with her sister Julia to get the money that she needs for the loan. Julia tries to leave with Nana immediately after paying Sal. I'm gonna butcher these names, so I'm sorry. But Sal wants interest. Julia replies with, "The only interest that I got are these hands." They run into Shang, and at first he's like, "I don't want no parts of this, I'm just trying to take my gift to my son." And once Southside was like, "Fuck them kids," Shang was like, "Well, I also brought with me these hands." The police comes right after and takes everybody in. Everyone is being interrogated, and you guessed it, the foreign commander in charge lets the bad guy get away. I'm not even gonna lie, Evil Colonizers is like a go-to for the Ip Man series. By the time Shang is able to leave the station, he hurries to make it to his son's birthday dinner, but they end up being too late. Luckily, the Batman toy saves the rest of the night. We find out that Southside is affiliated with the Shang local group, which is a crime family, but the main boss, Quan, wants to turn clean after being in the black market for over 10 years. She wants to end the stress that deals with being an illegal, and Southside ends up being the one who disagrees. Meanwhile, Shang Feng was with his friends, saying his father can beat Batman, when little did he know that Batman had already had prep time for it in the form of a bullying kid. He tries to defend his father's honor, but he's too rusty, just like his father. Bruh sound like Peter Griffin when he hurt his knee. Shang Feng misses his father teaching him Wing Chun, and it's obvious that his father misses it too, but that loss still haunts him at night. At least that'll keep him busy. Southside starts a fire at his home for the L he took earlier, and things are looking bleak for Shang and his son. With quick thinking, Shang was able to get both of them out of the home. But the thugs are still persistent, and with Shang Feng in his hands, he can't do much, so he clears it. Luckily, he sees Julia and hands his son over to her. So now he is able to do what he do best. You can tell the Ip Man series been making some money. They're now able to expand more on stunt choreography, and this scene of them leaping through buildings and signs while dancing shows this. Just as Shang thought he was in the clear, the hitman Tony Jaa appears out of nowhere and interrupts his plan. I love this fight, displaying Tony Jaa's Muay Thai skill set. He is another star I will be covering in this series, so don't you worry. Only by countering a left jab was Shang able to stop the fight in time to get back to his son. They take him to the hospital, where Shang and Julia bond a little bit before Fang fully recovers. Once again, the foreigner in charge says no foul play has been done and the subordinates are forced to agree. Shocking, right? Julia offers Shang and his son a place to stay since his place was burnt up, where we meet Julia's brother Hugh, who makes him work while he stays there because, you know, shit ain't free around here. Fang still has nightmares about the fire, which fires Shang up. So he decides to repay the favor and fight fire with fire. It's the next night and it's Shang's first shift and he's embracing everything around him. Oh look, there's a rude foreigner right here. Fang wants to play the smackdown on Buddy so bad, but Hugh comes in the nick of time to calm everyone down. The next day, Julia tends to Shang and Fang's wounds. While she is doing that, Sal finally sees what happens to one of his hideouts. Obviously wanting revenge, the head of Shang Lo does not allow these actions while they are changing their image, but Sal's like,
Whatever, I'll do what I want.
However, his goons on the other hand are scared of Boss Lady Quan, so they can't relate. While Shang is at work trying to be good, Boss Lady Quan comes in and just doesn't help him at all with that goal. Bruh's like, hey, what are you doing? Take this drink. I'm at work. Yo, take this drink. Hey, come on now, don't let it spill. That's on my tab. Hey, come, man, I ain't got time for. Yo, hey, bro, drink. The damn. Stop playing, bro. Dog, drink, bro. Take the damn. I am fucking insist. Take the drink. After she stops playing, she reveals the reason why she's here. She's here in the form of a financial apology for her brother's actions. Shang said he's good, and Quan tells him to think about it at least. Sai, on the other hand, not only can't get over the L he took, but the shift in the organization as well. So he decides to do under the table work until he can leave his sister's shadow. Shang heads to Hugh to pay rent when he reveals that he knows all about him challenging Ip Man. So of course he wants to see what those hands are close up. their spar, Shane catches some serious PTSD and gets carried away. Hugh bothers him about not using Wing Chun, but Shane heads out anyway to see what's left at his crib. The very first thing they are able to salvage is the greatest detective in the universe. Batman can survive in the DC universe, so of course a little bit of fire can't kill him. Julia and Fang starts messing around with the practice stand, and Shane catches more PTSD. That doesn't stop him from connecting with Julia though. Later that night, the entire crew goes out to dinner, which gives Master Shane a second chance on giving his son steak for his birthday. The head owner, Owen Davidson, sounds foreign if you ask me, even comes out to deliver the cake. Owen then heads out to host an auction for charity that is happening at the same time. As the auction is going, the Shang Lo group decides to make a big statement to say that they're here and out in the open and done with the shadowy business. Unfortunately, their reputation is too strong and no one is trying to hear what she has to say. This uproar forces Owen's hands and excuses Quan out the room, and the party is pretty much over after that. Meanwhile, Sasai is still out there in these streets, and after Shang pops up on one of his dealers, Shang starts to get ready because there's more to come. The foreigner turned out to be crooked? I'm shocked.
Oh no! Anyway,
Southside and his homie drops in to make a deal, and Owen plays the only one can make it out card, like this was a game in Saw. And Sal was like, well, I ain't a bitch, so.
I would have worked with you, even if you hadn't killed him.
Meanwhile, Shane has already snitched about the drugs in his community, and Sal's sister is not happy. Too bad she wasn't able to do something in the time that Nana gets an uncomfortable visit from Sal and forces her to OD. Julia comes to find her after the deed is done, but it's too late to save her. Southside and his sister finally have their long-awaited talk, and it turns out that Sal had plans to form a mutiny anyway. But none of that shit matters either, cause Shang and Hugh burst in the room, pissed for obvious reasons, and an all-out brawl begins. Actually, it's just a very long ass whooping. Tilly gets to the mini boss and finally makes Hugh put in some work. This gives Shang enough time to confront Sal and Quan, forcing Quan to find out about the death and defend her younger brother without any other options. So now it's Shang versus Quan and Hugh versus her right-hand man. This is a nice setup for this dance though. The two rooms apart are decorated enough to add the separate feeling of the fight, yet the open space lets us get a glimpse of both dances and how close they are to each other. Hugh saw that Shang needed a shift and gave him a smooth assist to even the odds. Southside wakes up and heads for the gun and starts firing off at Shang. Southside is not careful enough though, leaving himself wide open. Quan sees this and quickly acts in the only way she sees fit to save her brother and have everyone satisfied at the same time. To seal the deal, Sal is forced to give up the location of the remaining hidden drugs. This doesn't please Owen one bit and starts to come up with a plan of his own. He sends the police to raid Hugh's bar. They then plant drugs to frame Hugh so that they can send him off. But instead of the police station, A handcuffed Hugh is taken to Owen instead. Owen sets up a last feast in the middle of nowhere to set up the beef he got with Hugh. Owen lets him fight for his life, but the disadvantage of having his hands tied and the fact that Owen's a bigger build is just too much for him. The brutality of this scene is reminiscent of the Ip Man 2 boxer scene. Hugh dies, and as Shang views the body, he sees the crucial evidence leading back to Owen. The Shang Lo company is pretty much in shambles and shuts down, and while they're thinking of their next move, Shang gets himself together to take Owen on himself. He gives a heartfelt speech to his son and then he's off. Before Quan slides out, she has one more job for the assassin for hire. Shang makes it to Owen before he flees the scene, and once he is discovered, they waste no time to pop off. Just like Hugh, Shang is having a hard time with Owen's size and durability. What makes this worse is that Owen can legitimately dance a little bit as well. Shang even tries some Muay Thai, but even that can't get to Owen. Things are getting dire for Shang until he decides to finally get out of his PTSD and use his best dance to win the fight. Now that he's in Wing Chun mode, he focuses on his counters and pressure points as Owen looks as readable as Dr. Seuss. While Owen's power can still be a game changer, Master Shang is now more comfortable to redirect his attacks. Shang also bought a little bit of real estate in Owen's right abdomen because his attacks found a home. Shang hits Owen with a Freddy Krueger move. Owen runs out in time for the crooked police to arrive. They try to frame Shang and things get out of hand with Shang and the public, so bad that the Chinese law enforcement has finally had enough and decides to take a gamble and arrest the foreigners. Owen then tries to escape, but Tuxedo Mask over here wasn't having any of that. We end the movie off with Shang living a new life with Julia and his son. This movie was fun, although story-wise nothing really stood out. The cinematography, choreography, and original soundtrack was just as clean as Ip Man 3, so it was a really good fun movie to watch. The next movie ends our Ip Man series for now with Ip Man 4. Like if you like the video, subscribe if you like the content. Until next time, y'all be easy.
You got knocked the out!
The movie begins with Ip Man being a proud master as he watches Bruce Lee do his thing. This would be an even more joyous occasion if it was not for the fact that he just found out that he had head and neck cancer a month ago. But you can just tell by looking at him that a part of him is simply ready to see the love of his life again. Right after that news, an unknown person walks into Master Ip's class, making a terrible first impression to the students there. The language barrier made it impossible for the students to understand that he came in peace, so the unknown character ends up doing a light sparring session with one of the students, until Master Ip arrives. We now find out that he is one of Bruce Lee's students, Billy, who came all the way from the US to invite Master Ip to the karate tournament he is participating in. Master Ip just found out about his condition, so he really isn't thinking about that right now. Billy still slides the tickets to one of his students so that he can still at least think about it. Remember Ip Man's son who was just about them hands? Yeah, some things don't change. This was the last straw for the school, however, so Shang gets expelled. You can tell that throughout some time there has been some conflict between Ip Man and his son. Later that night, Bob, the policeman from the previous movie, comes to greet and exchange words with Ip Man. Ip Man wants Bob to watch over Shang while he flies to the States to find him a good school. Shang, on the other hand, doesn't want to go and snaps on his father to the point where he goes too far. That doesn't deter Ip Man from finding a school for his son, so he leaves from China to venture to new territory. Ip Man is then greeted by the journalist from the previous Ip Man movie, who was sent to the States by his company. From there, he takes Ip Man to the chairman Wan of the CBA, which is the Chinese Benevolent Association, so that he can get a recommendation letter for his son. Ip Man is then introduced to the replica of his hometown, where he sees the slight changes that reminds him that he's still in a foreign territory. When he arrives at the CBA, he sees his old friend Master Law, who greets him with a warm welcome. The other masters, however, are a little more defensive for a regular greeting. In a twist to reveal the first racial issue of the movie, Chairman Wan wants Ip Man to stop Bruce Lee from teaching Kung Fu to foreigners before signing a request for his own son. You see, the history that the American Chinese people have there wasn't the greatest overall, so they have their personal beefs that they are spilling onto Ip Man. Ip Man obviously sides with his student, seeing the unity that it can bring, but Wan is not open for that type of cultural relationship. Ip Man leaves with no papers to show for it. Later that night, we see Ip Man trying to get in contact with his son, but his son is still reluctant to pick up the phone. Wan's daughter is late arriving to practice with the father. Here we get more in depth with the racial issues in this movie, as Wan's daughter prefers cheerleading over martial arts and has adopted more into the American culture than her father, who you can see wants to keep traditions as pure as possible. There's more depth than just Wan's issue, however. When Mr. Luang takes Ip Man to his boss's associates for a recommendation, he reveals his distrust for Chinese people and how he wouldn't even speak to him if it wasn't for his boss. This introduces Ip Man firsthand to how difficult it can get in America. Later that night, we get into the first scene of the movie where Ip Man watches Bruce Lee do his thing. Bruce Lee sees Master Ip and is ecstatic to say the least. Although some are skeptical of his next move, Bruce Lee performs his signature 6-inch punch, and the actor does a pretty decent job replicating the movements down to the starting momentum from your feet. Later that night, Master Ip and Bruce Lee catch up when Ip Man reveals he is looking to get a recommendation for his son. Bruce Lee then reveals one of his students is a lawyer and may be able to help him out. As Ip Man is celebrating the good news and getting to know Bruce Lee's students, a few karate martial artists barges in, claiming superiority. Lee and his people are more than happy to deliver these hands, so they tell Master Ip to relax while they take care of it. Lee's real hungry today, so he orders a 3-piece to start things off. Before the first opponent could even raise his left leg off the ground, Bruce Lee ends the match in 3 kicks. Then another opponent shows up like a video game boss to challenge Bruce Lee.
The girl won't fight back, but I will.
Lee starts off by getting a feel for his opponent. Then Lee becomes the epitome of a countering machine. Lee is able to read his body language so well that it looks like as if Lee is in slow motion. Lee then gets on the offensive to display his superior fighting IQ. Love this feint, by the way. The opponent then starts round 2 with nunchucks to spice things up. But we're talking about the man who used nunchucks to play ping pong. So he's able to see them coming in slow motion once again, and is able to not only grab them, but he's also able to use a 6-inch punch he just performed. At this point, he's just showing off. The opponent then admits defeat and humbly respects Bruce Lee and his teachings. I love that even with all this historical tension, this was just about hands and nothing else. The next day, Master Ip heads to the school to deliver the requirements for his son. Meanwhile, a cheerleading tryout was happening and Yona was able to become one of the head cheerleaders, and a young Karen over here was against the whole idea. We switch back to Ip Man finally meeting with the principal, but unfortunately the lawyer's recommendation doesn't hold enough leverage and he still needs a recommendation from the CBA. As Yona was leaving school, little Miss Karen and her male entourage corners her and starts to bully her. Managing to cut her hair, they even try to break her arm.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
But Ip Man was watching and has had enough of this. He damages his arm trying to save her, but these are high schoolers, so he barely even needs one arm. After the bullies run away, Ip Man takes Yona home. That's when he learns that she is the daughter of Wan and the history behind his animosity towards the non-Chinese people, dating back to the treatment he and his father were treated while working on the railroads. Ip Man and Yona reach her home and she tries to convince her father to write the letter. He is more concerned about the fight she got into, not using her tolerance. Ip Man doesn't understand his frustrations, so Wan breaks it down and how it's a constant fight just to stay around. Reminiscent of Master Hume, they exchange ideologies, until Wan rather exchange these hands. The fight starts and Master Wan immediately goes for the body and leg shots. Those fail, but he was able to land a good counter on Master Ip, waking him up. Man, the Ip Man series hates tables. I am a fan of this dance battle for leverage we are seeing, and Master Wan actually gets the better of Ip Man, sending him flying back into round 2. Ip Man already adapted and remembered the notes from the first round and prepared counters for Wan's low hits. That's when Wan notices Master Ip's injury and reacts like a real one, I'm not even gonna lie. Master Wan puts one hand behind his back to even the odds, and they get right back to it. Ip Man's use of the 6-inch punch gains him the momentum. That get up from Master Ip was too clean. Their dance was getting so intense that Mother Nature herself had to step in. After the earthquake, Wan finds his daughter and tells Ip Man that they can finish this later, and after Ip Man says his final piece, he leaves. The next day, Bruce Lee's student Hartman brings a Wing Chun stand to the army base to demonstrate Wing Chun. Here is where we meet the drill sergeant Barton, who we can deem in the probably racist category.
Oh, it's hurting you, is it? I'm not racist. See, I don't hate you because you're colored. I hate you because you're a cowardly color.
Okay, let's promote him. He sees Hartman and is immediately not fucking with the dummy stand or Wing Chun.
Outstanding, Staff Sergeant. You're a goddamn genius. Get this thing off my face now.
I know nothing of Chinese Kung Fu.
Pow!
Those words didn't sit well, and now he has to face Karate Master Colin to back up his claim. This was a mistake from the start though, because he just got played. By admitting he's only been training for months, Barton sends a black belt who needs at least 4 years of training after him and of course dominates Hartman. That much skill over your opponent results in a domination 9 times out of 10. To celebrate Colin's victory, not only does Hartman and his countrymen have to run extra miles, but they burn his Wing Chun stand as well. Moving on, Ip Man is visited by Yona, and she comes over to gift Ip Man with a recommendation letter. Ip Man immediately notices that she forged her father's signature, so he tosses it away and tries to teach her a lesson. But that got Uno reversed when he realized how his own son feels through her.
我喜欢啦啦队，喜欢跳舞，又是我错，我什么都错，他根本就不支持我。
He uses that self-lesson to offer a better solution for Yona and sends her on her way. While all this was happening, Becky, the snotty teenager, has fake cried victim to her parents. Her father works for the INS and now he's planning to get rid of Juan and the entire CBA. Hartman is persistent in adapting Wing Chun, so he goes above his drill sergeant to introduce Wing Chun, which was favored so well that he was given permission to do film study at the upcoming Chinese festival. That's when Barton comes in hating, but he gets nowhere. He then goes to Colin to cry about it, then tells him to interrupt the Chinese festival. The festival begins, but Master Juan is running late finishing up some paperwork. Just when he's wrapping up, Becky's dad and the INS shows up and arrests Juan over false claims. At the same time, Colin interrupts the festival and challenges all masters to come get this smoke. Law steps up to the plate, but he must be rusty as hell as Colin makes easy work of him. The next master who stepped up was also weak as hell. His punches meant nothing and it didn't take long for him to get overpowered. The next one does the best so far. She not only keeps up and holds her own, but she utilizes her entire body to make her strike stronger. Colin was still too strong, however, and starts dominating. This is when Master Ip has once again had enough and steps in last minute, One Punch Man style. Colin throws a flying kick, but Ip Man Uno reverses that and has him flying back. No games. Ip Man's signature counters and flurries of fists wakes Colin up to let him know playtime is over. Master Ip reads a right kick, takes the soul away from his left leg, plays patty cake with Buddy's rib cage, then turns his head to a bobblehead. Just look at him, thinking about what he's done and regretting it. He gets some momentum, but it went nowhere, and Master Ip continues his ass whooping. Everyone celebrates Master Ip putting Colin in the dirt, including Yona, but the celebration is cut short once she hears the news about her father, who is being set up right now so that the entire CBA will go down. Barton saw what happened to Colin and seeks revenge. Ip Man and Yona arrive in the immigration building and runs into Billy, who's a part of the INS. He warns them about the raid and then is forced to head out. They call the CBA to warn them to leave when Barton shows up and starts wrecking shop on everyone. Ip Man shows up in time to at least get everyone out before immigration shows up. That's when Barton, at the same time, heads to immigration to release Juan. He pretty much bitches the officer, and that's not allowed, right? I'm not a hierarchy connoisseur, but I feel like his status shouldn't mean shit here. He should be in jail, right? Am I tripping? But he gets away with it and is allowed to take Juan out for a final showdown. Juan also saves his daughter's dignity before he leaves as well. He is not giving them satisfaction of feeling superior. Barton makes his entire platoon watch the final showdown between himself and Juan. The match begins and Juan lets him know immediately that there's levels to this. Barton follows with a leaping right that also went nowhere. When it comes to literal hands, Juan shows superiority, but Barton holds the advantage in his legs. He has stronger kicks, which eventually starts breaking Juan down. It breaks him down enough for Barton to land 2 strong lefts. Juan is able to get back up, but Barton continues his assault, now including high knees. Juan fought a good fight, but the drill sergeant was able to secure the victory. Bruce Lee and Master Ip are taking care of the rest of the CBA when Hartman calls about what happened to Master Juan. Master Ip watches Yona cater to her father in the hospital. This finally gives him the motivation to tell the news to his family. Once his son realizes the truth, he immediately runs to the phone for a long-awaited moment of forgiveness on both sides. Now that Ip Man was able to get that burden off his chest, there's one more thing he needs to let off: these hands. Master Ip heads straight to the lion's den and sizes Barton down, just waiting for a puff of that smoke. Barton, already cocky, having rolled up a few masters before, immediately accepts. Barton starts testing Master Ip. While fruitless at first, Barton caught a rhythm and was able to start switching the momentum. Now things are a little more evened out as they get ready to start round 2. Barton did just enough to notice the bruise Master Ip still has. So Barton takes full advantage and drops bombs of leg kicks to Master Ip. Barton starts talking cash money when Master Ip gets up and is like, "Stop talking, you still owe me these hands." Barton goes for the injured arm and Master Ip is like, fuck it, I'm here to win. Hey, to my old folks. Y'all remember back in the day when somebody mama chopped their kid in the throat? Barton drops and Ip Man is the victor. Join that nigga down. This is Master Ip's final cinematic hurrah as people from all over cheer him on. Master Ip heads back to his son, who immediately has a change of heart on how to interact with his old man. The conversation is now more peaceful, and as a father, he's going to make sure his son does right with the decisions he makes. We end the movie with a flashback of Ip Man's life. Leading to Bruce Lee giving his final respects. This was a solid ending to the Donnie Yen Ip Man legacy. The conversation about racism was written the best here out of all 5 movies, and the choreography went back to the one-on-ones. The touch of Bruce Lee was enough and the ending felt satisfying. I enjoyed this series. Y'all, please watch the whole thing. The next movie I want to talk about is Romeo Must Die. Like if you like the video, subscribe if you like the content. Until next time, y'all be easy.